Okay, roll call, please.
Council President D'Amato.
Here.
Della Ripa is excused. Graziano.
Here.
Hudson.
Here.
Julian.
Here.
Ray is also excused. He may be joining later if he can.
Yes, he had a work commitment. Okay, we're also joined by our municipal clerk, Brianna Calabro, business administrator, Michael Sondermeyer, and borough attorney, Fred Samaro. In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act and the Emergency Remote Meeting Protocol for the local public bodies, adequate electronic notice of this remote meeting have been provided by sending notice to the Herald newspaper and the Star Ledger, posting notice on the borough website, posting notice outside front door and bulletin board of Borough Hall at 101 Hamburg Turnpike, Bloomingdale, New Jersey, and sending notice to those individuals requesting the same. Members of the public will be kept on mute during the meeting, while the mute participants will still be able to hear business being conducted. If you'd like to speak during the designated public comment portion, press 9 on your phone or raise the hand icon on the Zoom app and wait to be recognized by the host, who will unmute you to speak. When you are done commenting, you will be put on mute again. There's a 5-minute limit on all public comments. I believe we do have one non-agenda break, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I will have a resolution to waive the garage sale fees for the townwide garage sale. We usually do it earlier. I just forgot to get it on an agenda, so.
Okay, and that is this weekend, correct?
Yes.
Okay. We'll put that for the end. Introduction to seminars. I guess she's not here this evening.
They were supposed to join, so I guess not.
Okay.
That came by their request. I sent them the Zoom information, so if they're not on the call, so if we want to just carry on, and maybe they'll come to our next meeting.
Okay. Okay. Need a motion, open early public comment to reserve for agenda items.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Anybody opposed? Anybody wishing to speak at early public comment, please raise your hand or hit your number 9 on your phone.
No hands, John.
Okay. Motion to close early public.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Report of committees. Any council person have anything to speak on the committees they partake in?
I do. So townwide garage sale this weekend from 9 to 5. It is closed to folks being able to register and get on the master list. But Bree, are we still taking registration forms?
Yeah, and I'm still updating. So.
Okay. Okay, but they can, but
Slide.
they were supposed to be in by the 16th, but Bree will get a master list out and we'll advertise the master list on social media and the website. We also are taking anyone that's interested in Town Cleanup Day. They can email me at dhudson@bloomingdalenj.net. We have that coming up. That's the 8th of May, which is the day before Mother's Day. 10 a.m. We'll be meeting the team leaders at Town Hall at 10 a.m. and then people will get their assigned locations. Health Department. We have 200 open appointments. This is Passaic County. They have 200 open appointments for the vaccination. That will be the Moderna. So it's only 18 and older. You can go to the Passaic County website. It's PassaiCCounty.org/COVID-VAX, VAX, and register for the vaccine. And that's going to be at the Passaic County Community College in Wanacue on 4/21, which is tomorrow. So they still have open appointments. For those residents that are homebound, they can call Town Hall and be put on a list. We are still working on that. That is not just something that unfortunately our health official can just give people, vaccinations. That's pretty complicated. So our homebound people just know that we're still working on it. And if a resident cannot get an appointment, they're struggling with the computer, they don't have a cell phone, they don't have email, just call town hall and we will help them get an appointment. I think that's it.
Okay. Anybody else?
Hey, John, just a couple of things.
Sure.
As you all know, Triborough Little League baseball and softball started this past weekend, which was great. A little different than normal. No parade and opening ceremonies, but games started, and it just felt good. So we're hoping the end of the season will look a little more like the beginning of the season, and maybe we'll be able to do a parade and have a different type of a closing ceremony. So right now, baseball and softball is underway. And I apologize, something just popped up on my computer. Hang on, I don't want to install new software. Bear with me, guys. Oh gosh, hang on. Okay, the Rose Trust Committee, they met. I know we're going to talk about that a little bit later today. They submitted their report. I just wanted to thank Jack, Matt, Karen, Tina, and Bob for their work and getting that done. And then last but not least, the last rec meeting that I was able to attend, I got to tell you, that group, they are working hard to put events together once we can resume sort of normal activities and get people of all ages together. So for example, some of the programs that they're working on right now is an outdoor painting program, like a painting in the park program, which I think is really cool. A choir program. And I think this is going to get the kids really excited in Butler and Bloomingdale. A 5th through 8th grade 2-on-2 basketball tournament, which I think is just a home run of an idea. Summer camp is something that Rachel is still trying to figure out if we're going to have access to the schools. I can tell you there's a plan B and in a C if the answer is no, where it's going to be held, what it'll look like. So that is something they're still working on as we speak. And that is all.
Okay, Drew, just on that part with the school, I've been told that the acting superintendent will be calling me.
Okay.
To not only introduce himself but to have conversations of what we want to do with summer rec, and it's how important it is for our youth to have this program, and we can do it in a safe way. So I'm hoping that goes in a good direction. With that,
having access to the school, it's super important. Without that, it presents a lot of challenges, whether it's, it's a tent. Where do you put the tent? You have conflicting schedules, moving kids around, bad weather. How do you keep lunches cold? Like if you don't have access to the school, the challenges are massive. So just please stress that with the acting super when you have that conversation.
I will.
Thank you.
And actually, when I have that appointment, I hope it's face to face. I'll send you an email. Maybe you want to join me.
Okay.
Or Mike and I, or anybody else that would like to join us. And it was really great to drive past Anderson Field this past weekend and seeing kids playing baseball under the lights, down there practicing, games going on. It's absolutely fantastic to see some type of normalcy in the spring. It was great.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, just really one thing at EDC. So before our meeting, they submitted an opinion paper on legalized marijuana, which I know we'll talk about later as well. But they put a lot of work and research into it. So I just want to acknowledge that and hope everyone gives it a good read. Other than that, I think we have a ribbon cutting. We'll have another meeting before then, so I can bring it up at that point.
May 8th, right?
It's May 8th, right?
Correct. May 8th, 11:30, Jazzercise.
In the park.
In the park, which is great.
Well, I think the actual ribbon cutting will take place in front of the business, which is just down the street at Riverside Square. But they will be having, I think starting at 10 a.m., an exhibition they're essentially putting on. They're gonna have a stage and they're gonna do some performance. So it should be a good time. It's also at the same time as the townwide cleanup. So we'll be doing some double duty that day.
Okay, good. This past weekend, I guess we had the paper shredding that seemed to have went well. I didn't hear or see any complaints. So that was good. There's a lot of things going on within the borough, which we'll talk about later on. Let Mike talk about that stuff. And that's pretty much, I don't have too much of anything else. Bree, you have anything?
Just that I did email quickly, but we are doing a Memorial Day parade with Butler. So we'll be doing I actually haven't seen this since before 2018. Back to, I guess, how it was always done. We're gonna start in Butler, do their ceremony there, and then we'll head to Sloan Park and then do our ceremony there. So I'll get everyone out the times that we will line up in Butler and then march to Sloan Park, but that's it. More to come on that.
Okay. Fred?
The only thing I would mention is that we have every year tax appeals that are filed, and you know, it's very reflective. There's only 8 that were filed this year against the borough, and I think a handful of them were all filed based on maybe a solicitation from an attorney. And I think that's just reflective of the fact that the real estate market has done very well and the values have held very well within the borough. So we don't have any surprises, or, you know, ultimately we just have fewer appeals filed this year, and we believe many of them would be defendable. So that's my report for tonight. Thanks.
Great. Okay.
A
Mike.
couple, John. Yeah. We had a flag burning ceremony like a couple weekends ago and another troop called me. They want to do one on May 1st at 10 o'clock at the burning pit. So if anybody wants to attend, it's actually a pretty cool ceremony. The budget right now, we're introducing at the next meeting on May 4th. And I got a memo today from the Board of Education that they're going to introduce their budget the same night, but theirs is at 5:30, according to the memo. So we'll be able to get on, listen to that, and then have our meeting in person in Town Hall. The Councilwoman Hudson, you'll be happy to know that the Veterans tree and the Dunleavy tree were planted today.
Right there.
Right, right where you wanted it. So
Yep. They look good.
it does look good, yeah. The as John said, the new interim super, we're looking to set up a meeting with him. That'll probably be sometime after May 1st. I think that's his official start date. And then the last thing I want to talk about is I took 3 quotes to get Borough Hall cleaned. And the lowest number came back was roughly about $1,800 a month, which is about just over 12,000 for the remainder of this year. It'll be on the next meeting. We're going to put together a resolution for that, and I hope you guys pass it. And we're hoping to pay that with the COVID money we're gonna see from the county or the state, actually federal government. And if we approve this, it'll be able to do it for at least the next 4 years before we need to bring it into our budget somehow. So it gives us time to think about that. But it'll allow the Borough Hall to be cleaned properly, where we don't have the manpower or the time to do it justice right now. And with people coming back in now, it definitely needs to be a service provided from the outside. So more to come on that next meeting.
Okay. Mike, how's it been going with Borough Hall being open?
Pretty well. People come in here, the doorbell going off all the time. And Terry jumps up and answers it. I see people coming in. Library is doing their thing, their half-hour appointments. So they set up and they come in. They're allowed a half hour in the library to meander around or sit and do whatever they want to do. But they're pretty stringent on that. They don't allow anybody else in. 6 is a max. So, and a lot of people are still utilizing the drop boxes. So some people are still leaning about coming into the building. So they're still able to use those drop boxes for taxes, paying bills, and the library as well. So
Have we gotten our guidance yet on the COVID money?
No, I emailed the governor's office last week to see where that's going, and they told me by May 11th we should have an answer. There's real tentative guidelines now, but nothing's official. They have 60 days. I think it's the state has 60 days to receive the money from the federal government, and then within the next, I think it's another 30 days, we're supposed to have it directly sent to us. But exactly what you can use it for and can't, they haven't put that out yet.
Right.
One of the things is maintaining your buildings. That's where Mike came up with the cleaning thing. And that is part of it because of the COVID and the spraying and doing all, it's still COVID related.
Disinfecting. Yep.
Disinfecting. So we're waiting on that. It's quite a bit of money. And if we can use it, it's really going to help us out to where our needs are. And that will help all around. So, but more to come on that. As soon as I know it, you guys will know it.
Our health officer did say that he had heard that we were going to be able to use it for contractual obligations, which will be nice for our Board of Health.
I haven't seen that in writing yet. I've
Right,
seen
I'm just
the
passing
basic.
on what he's
That would be
heard.
great.
Yes,
That would
it
be great because it's expensive. Okay. Okay. Let's move on. Item 9, resolution number 2021 4.9, the consent agenda. Do I have a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Seconded.
Roll call, please.
Sorry, I was muted. D'Amato,
Yes.
Graziano,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Julian,
Yes.
Forgot nobody else is here. Okay. All right. Number 10, pending items. Second and final reading, public hearing, ordinance number 10-2021, authorizing and confirming the special assessment for Red Twig Trail. Can I have a motion for,
I'll read the public notice
read
statement.
the public notice first? Go ahead. Yeah.
The ordinance was posted in the municipal building, published in the Herald News, and copies were made available to the public so that a motion may be made that it be read by title.
Can I have a motion to read by title?
Make a motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Favor?
An ordinance of the Borough of Bloomingdale, County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, amending and confirming the special assessments calculated pursuant to statute and set forth in the report of Darmafalski Engineering Associates in connection with the Red Twig Trail improvements to be paid in installments over the course of 10 years.
Okay. Can I have a motion to open public comment on this?
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone wishing to speak?
No hands, John.
Okay, motion to close?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion to adopt.
So moved.
No, second.
Okay. Roll call.
Graziano,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Julian,
Yes.
D'Amato,
Yes. Okay, introduction of new business. Adoption of resolution number 2021-4.
4.8.
4.18, payment of the bills. Do I have a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Roll call.
Hudson,
Yes.
Julian,
Yes.
D'Amato,
Yes, with the exception of vendor 01463.
Graziano,
Yes.
Okay. Adoption of resolution number 2021 4.19, GPS fleet tracking for the DPW fleet. Mike, do you want to talk about this before we
I don't know if you have to open up first, go to discussion, or if I can just talk now, Fred.
No, you can talk now. It's good.
Okay. So this is DPW sat down with Frank and Al, and we we brought in 2 companies that offer this service. It's a GPS monitors they put on our vehicles. There'll be on 25 vehicles, as well as 6 cameras. We figure we put the cameras on the 3 garbage trucks, 1 on the street sweeper, and then the 2 supervisor positions, the foreman right now, and then Al as the superintendent. And what this allows us to do is just what you think it is. I mean, a lot of major fleet vendors use this when they're going across country and stuff like that, but there's a lot of DPW people and local public and private companies that use this as well. So it allows them to know where the vehicles are. It monitors drivers' behaviors. So if there's quick stops or running red lights or running stop signs, I should say, speeding, things like that, we'll be able to coach employees with the information on the reports that we get. It also monitors how gas is being used. So if I have a truck that's idling for a long time, we can, again, coach that associate. Hey, when you're there, if they're 30 minutes, whatever, please turn the truck off because you're just wasting gas sitting there type thing. It also helps monitor the vehicle maintenance. It'll tell us when things are due for maintenance. Now, I know our mechanics also do that. So it's really just it'll be a second, it's just another reminder to get things done when needed. It'll let us know during emergency situations if we have an issue going on. It shows us a live map. So it'll tell us who is the closest person to that emergency, or if somebody is stuck while they're plowing, we know exactly where they are with the GPS as well. On the sweeper information, it'll be good on the sweeper with the camera as well. So we'll be able to replay exactly what streets he's gone through in our town, as well as the shared service towns. So when they come back and question, how come he didn't sweep our street? We can go back to the camera, we can go back to the map and tell them, hey, he was here on such and such a day, and this is what he did. We can set alerts for inactivity, late starts, if they're not getting out at 6 o'clock in the morning like they're supposed to be. A truck's leaving at 7 o'clock. We can question those type of questions. It gives reports again on fuel activity, driving styles, summarizes, and then with the cameras on the garbage trucks, we thought in 3 of them would be good too, because we get a lot of calls from residents that say our garbage wasn't picked up. And the fact is that it wasn't picked up, it wasn't put out. We were probably already went by before they put it out. So we'll be able to go back again to the video. We'll pick it up anyway, but again, we can use it to help coach and educate our community as well as our drivers and stuff. So I think it's the right thing to do. It's a great tool for us to use to monitor the vehicles and to also monitor our staff. And it's already included in our budget. So once that's adopted, it's already factored into the numbers now. And it comes out of our AT&T line, because it's actually a Verizon line. I mean, it's actually a service that's provided by Verizon, and this is a national account. So co-op, I should say. So we're seeing some benefits there. It's probably about 2/3 less than the next closest bid, being that they're a national co-op. So just looking for a motion from somebody to adopt this, so it allows us to go ahead and get this service and get this implemented. And again, hopefully we can use this for the remainder of the year and going forward. So.
Yeah, the other thing, I think we got to make clear with our employees, Mike, this is not a discipline tool.
No.
This is a tracking tool to better for efficiency. And also when you talked about that part on safety, if somebody out there and gets hurt and is unable to use their phone or get help, we'll know where that person is and is, or at least where their truck is. So it'll give us an idea where and who. So it's actually a good safety tool also.
Yep.
But it's really efficient. And this pretty much came from them, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Right. So
Hey,
that's a
Mike,
good
can you
thing.
just add a little comment or color commentary on sort of the why we're doing this? Are we running into issues where people are showing up for work late?
No, not necessarily.
Like,
No.
Yeah.
No, that's just one of the reports you can run. So if people are questioning the start time, I noticed kind of up before, even when I was sat in the council, we questioned, do they really start at 6 o'clock? Are the trucks leaving the gate at 6 o'clock or 6:05 type thing? Or are they really leaving at 7 o'clock? That's just one report that we can run on this thing. The reason I started looking into it is when I sat there during those snowstorms, and there's really it's people, they all take off and nobody knows where they are. They know they have a certain route to do, so they know they're in a certain area of town type thing, but especially the guys who are in a lake community, they go off the road or something breaks down or we see a vehicle stop, we know something's going on, especially if it's there for a while. So I was like, it'd be great if we had some type of a map showing us where these guys are. And then when people call, a lot of residents call and say, hey, they didn't plow my road. We can go back and say, oh yeah, they did. They were here at 8 o'clock and they went back at 11 o'clock at night to do the same road. So that's what kind of drove the us looking into this. And then when we started seeing all the other perks that come with it, we was like, I know what, this is probably a good solution for us. And again, other towns are using it as well around this. So, and it's about $600 a month for, in the grand scheme of things, is not a ton. We spend more than that on cell phones in our town. So,
just one more question.
Yeah.
If it's used as a, I guess a safety feature, safety sort of back technology. I guess my question for you is for Fred, actually. Fred, if we know that it can provide a level of safety for our employees and we don't do it, could we potentially run into an issue down the line if we, let's just say, voted against it and didn't purchase the technology?
I would say, look, at some point, I think it'll be, sort of standard to that point. So down the road, I think the answer could be yes. Right now, I think it's before you, and it's not. It's an option right now.
Yeah.
Down the road, I think yes, that would be considered almost a standard as it starts to progress, because it's been out there for a number of years as an option. But I think it's sort of getting to be more standard. It's in a lot of just from personnel handbooks and things that are out there right now as far as safety. So in the long run, yes, you're better off from that standpoint.
Okay, thank you.
Well, it also becomes an efficiency tool, and it makes the employees think about when they pull up to behind Borough Hall and they walk out of it and the truck is running. I can tell you my previous life that you were never allowed to leave a truck running unattended. They did have an experience once early in my career where somebody left a truck running and a kid got in it and drove it. But efficiency wise, when we had them in our trucks, when I was working, it really brought down the cost of fuel, because the fuel was being monitored, how much it's using, and then the employees just make a conscious effort to turn their trucks off. And in the long run, I think it will save us money versus cost us money. Now we'll see that, and if it doesn't, then maybe we have to go in a different direction. But I think all around will benefit in the long run. Okay. Anybody else have anything to add? Okay. I need a motion on the floor to accept.
Also moved on.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So John and who
Do we
seconded?
have a motion?
Yeah, I'll
I
make
made
the
the
motion.
motion.
Oh,
Then
and I'll second.
Okay, John, second
I'll
by
do both
Dawn.
if you want.
Yeah.
All right, John and Dawn.
And then I'll do a
Okay.
roll call
Okay.
on that. Julian,
Yes.
D'Amato,
Yes.
Graziano,
Yes.
Hudson.
Yes.
Okay.
Motion carries.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Item C, discussion on cannabis legislation. I scanned through the email that came out from the EDC today. And I need more time to digest the whole thing. It looked like there was a lot of stuff in there that we kind of knew about already. I'm just going to open the floor up. We've had time to think about this. I have my own personal thoughts, but I'm not going to use my personal thoughts on what's right for the borough, because my personal feeling of marijuana is I'm against it. But the other side of it, it's legal now, and there isn't much we can do. It is what it is. So we need to just make a decision how we want to handle this. And I'll read that email thoroughly either after this or tomorrow. There was too much going on today. So just open the floor up. Let's have a discussion. And give me your thoughts. We've had time to think. Anybody?
Yeah, so I mean, my thought is, first I look at the referendum and just the percentage of people, even in our own town. And we talked about this in a couple council meetings ago. The majority of people supported this. I think it's a little surprising that some of the surrounding municipalities and towns are not, or are making resolutions or ordinances to not allow the sale or any kind of facilities in their town. I think that might be an opportunity for us, quite frankly. I think that this is revenue we can bring in, and we can do a very, very thorough job of controlling it in terms of proper ordinances, placement, what can be sold, the type of store that can sell it. It sounds like we can really do a lot, essentially. So I think that that's a positive. I've seen our town over the past many decades kind of miss the boat on things or be a little slow to react. I think this is a good opportunity to get out in front of something. I mean, the question isn't legalization versus no, it's whether we want to get some sort of benefit from this in terms of tax revenue. I think perhaps that could even help us out from the state. This is just me speculating, right? But if a lot of towns are going against it and they're not opening up their doors, that's all tax revenue that the state has to throw around. I don't know how they're going to determine that, but it probably looks more favorably on us if we get on board. That's not the reason to do it. I think the other reasons I mentioned before that are more along the lines of what I'm thinking. This is here, we have to deal with it anyway. Whether there's increased costs or not, we might as well get something out of it from a revenue standpoint.
Good one.
Okay. I keep muting myself because my children have been in and out and in and out. So I really agree with everything John said. I've been in favor of it from day one. So I really can't say much more besides what John said. And I would just piggyback on everything he just said. And I agree with it. I think we're missing out if we don't jump on top of this opportunity.
Okay. Drew, anything?
Yeah, I've like you, John. I'm not going to let my personal opinion influence, my thoughts here. I've witnessed its benefits firsthand from a medicinal perspective when my brother was ill, and then I've also seen the other side of it. So that's all on the sidelines here, as it relates to my opinion with the borough. I agree with Dawn and Councilman Graziano here. I think there's an opportunity, and to not participate, I think would be a miss. However, I think whatever our market looks like, however we create it, whether it's based on licenses similar to a liquor store, how many we issue, if there's a fee for that license, I think however we do this, it needs to be insightful, well planned out, well thought out, controlled. We control it, we build the market, and truly understand the financial piece, what percent would come back to our borough. I've heard conflicting stories of what that's actually going to look like. So I don't know, Fred, if you can comment on that, what that percent looks like if we go with a commercial model versus agricultural model. So at the end of the day, I am for it, but again, a very well thought out plan and very well defined on what it looks like in our town.
Okay,
So my 2 cents.
thanks. A week or so ago, Mike and I got an invitation to watch a presentation via
And John.
Zoom. The presentation that we saw.
Yeah, Graziano was on it. Councilman Graziano was on it as well.
Oh, and John was on it. Okay. And it was people that were against. And they weren't trying to influence us one way or the other. They were just giving their opinion. And then they had some younger people speaking on behalf of either a lost loved one and where marijuana will take them. Their fear was that, and it could be, and actually the same thing could happen with a liquor store, is, somebody will go in and buy it, come out, and it'll be somebody younger there, and that's how it all starts. But where they live and where we live, the demographics are a little bit different. And I think we would have control if anybody saw that going on. I think our police department would be all over it. But it was an interesting presentation on the opposite of what we're talking about. It was like totally against it. Local towns around us, Wayne, we know, is not doing it as of today. There's some other towns around us that have highways, and I think they are going to come up with a plan. So it's going to be around us. No matter what we do, it's going to be around us. So I'm leaning towards what you guys are talking about. If it's going to benefit us financially, and we're going to have to deal with what's coming through town anyway, I guess what I'm saying is we need to come up with a concrete plan, as John spoke about, to get this on the right track and do it correctly. So my thought process was, after I started thinking about it again today, is out of our council, I think we should come up with a committee and start putting together your thoughts on what we should do, how we should do it, and come up with, the ordinances and the laws that we want to put in place and where in town. So if anybody would like to be on that committee from the council, I think it would be a great opportunity. And then maybe you can add who you want to that committee. And we can go from there and put this together, because we have to have it done by August, correct, Fred?
Yes, August 21st.
21st.
So Fred, what's our drop dead date to get things over to you to put an ordinance and stuff in place?
Well,
I mean, that's the drop dead.
yeah, if it's going to go the zoning route, remember, we still have to get it over to the planning board and back. So really, by the beginning of July, I think in June, you're going to need clear direction. But remember, if you're going to permit any particular type of use, you still want to have a lot of input and a zoning ordinance drafted, so it's in the areas of the borough that you want it. And so Mike, to your point, I think by the end of next month, if you have a consensus, and then, it's easy if it's an all-out ban, but if it's, something short of that and you want to have it, certain licenses, I really think you're going to need to make sure we have all the zoning ordinances put in place, so you can, and given an example, say, I don't want this a certain number of feet from schools, or I want a certain size lot if it's cultivation, and I don't want it in residential, but I do want it in industrial. And you want to see what that map looks like after you make all of those type of requirements to see where you will permit it. So yeah, I think, the sooner than later to get that overall direction is a good thing.
Can I just add to timing, just our meeting dates? We only meet once in July and the August month, so we have to be mindful of that as well.
What's our meeting date in August?
The 17th.
So that's right before due date.
But you have, if zoning goes to your planning board, you just have to check there. I'm just saying, you really,
Yeah.
when you actually look at the calendar, we very easily get to that August deadline quick. That's it.
Okay. So does anybody want to head this committee?
I
You're on
think
mute, Dawn.
it
You're on
takes time
mute.
to
Did it
do
again.
the
Oh my
resolution.
gosh. No, I said I'll be on it, but I can't head it.
Okay.
I mean, I can take a stab at it if you like.
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
Yay, John.
The EDC, I'll just add also, I read the memo that was sent. They recommended the commission as well to have it be called the Cannabis Regulatory Commission, just as a suggestion, if you just mentioned you didn't get to go through it yet. And I don't know if you want council or them, but maybe some of your other board members may be interested in joining.
So, okay, Fred, I know this has to go before zoning and planning board. Could members of their committee be part of this?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I would probably reach out to those two boards and get input from them and put them on the committee. This way, when this goes, everybody's on the same page. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Fred,
I'd bring somebody, I'd bring them all. I'm sorry, Bree.
just for the record, then for next meeting, can we do a resolution to form this board with whichever names? Would that be a better way to do it?
Sure.
Does that
Yeah.
work?
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, keep in mind, ultimately, and you work well with the zone, the zoning board, but ultimately it's a policy decision. And I just think that, because at the end of the day, it's the governing body that's going to vote on this. So once you have a consensus, and I'm going to give an example, you say, we want this to be available on all levels, cultivator, manufacturer, wholesale, retail. We want this. Then it's a good time to turn it over and say to a subcommittee or the planning board representatives, whoever you put together, say, look, the council is interested in all of the license, or the council is just interested in cultivating. So that's what we want you to look at. What would be the right size? What would be the location? Otherwise, there's a lot of mixes and matches that they could come back with, and you're going to be sorting through it. Keeping in mind, whatever you opt out of right now, you could always opt back in. But whatever you opt in, it's for the next 5 years. So
5 years.
perhaps you want to take a look at this and then just give a general direction. You're not locked into it to say, look, let's get started. Given examples, we do want retail. So let's send that subcommittee now to start telling us where it could be retail, because that's important. And as I mentioned, there's certain limitations to retail anyway. Can't be where food is sold or alcohol sold. But nonetheless, you would direct them in that way. And if I can, John, I just want to mention, to Drew's point, there is certain local tax or transfer tax that's available when it comes to this. And it's, it depends on the actual type of use, but cultivating's up to 2%. So is the manufacturer, up to 2%. Wholesale is up to 1%. This is just local revenue, and retail is up to 2% as well. That of that transaction goes right to the borough. I just want to make sure I answered that.
Thank you.
Okay.
I mean, on that topic, when I think of the different choices before us, to me, retail sounds like a good one to just stick with that and maybe not the other options. I mean, cultivation, I know we talked about this a couple of meetings ago. I don't think we have really the space for it. I don't think we want to deal with the smell, the water, all that kind of stuff that goes along with it. I think distribution, that seems to be like manufacturing to me, right? You have a lot of trucks coming and going. And again, I don't think our town is really built for that. I don't recommend that for us either. Although that could come with greater revenues and thus, greater percent of taxes. But to me, I would say that we are more of a retail town. We kind of go with that one item. And then, as Fred had said before, we could always reassess later, right, to include anything else. But I don't know, it wouldn't seem right to me for Bloomingdale. Some of those other options. Retail seems to be the simplest, the one that makes the most sense. And also I think that we can, and Fred, let me know if I'm wrong here, but we can limit the retail establishment to only selling essentially like marijuana or paraphernalia or whatever, right? Like they wouldn't be able to go
Right.
in and, get gas there, and it's not going to
Right.
be like
Some of it is
7-Eleven.
already prohibited, such as you said, John, gas, or, where you sell food products, you can't as well. So it will be, there's certain already inherent restrictions. And then you can say, again, we don't want it within a certain feet of a school for whatever reason. I use that as, sort of a certain consideration. But to John's point, see, I really like when the discussion starts to be more specific, because if everyone shared an ultimate opinion, like John's opinion about any particular license, then we can really get a running start on the zoning and planning. And even if later on somebody comes forward with respect to cultivating, and I'll just work on this, is to say, they could come back after you say no to cultivating, but if there's a certain property that comes forward and you think it meets a lot of the criteria that's important to you, you can always change back. But I like the idea of sort of breaking up the licenses and saying, hey, this one we are all in agreement. We want to look at. Doesn't mean you're bound by it. We want to see how that looks because we're very interested. That's a good discussion at this time of year as to where we're going to get us started, whenever that happens.
Hey, Fred, you bring up an interesting point, right? So there's cultivation, there's retail, distribution, and I'm sorry, what were the others?
Cultivation, retail, distribution, wholesale,
Also, thank you.
and
So
manufacturing.
do we have to decide on all four individually? So for example, no? Okay.
No, like here, you can decide on one, all, or none, as far as what you want to do. And it's just whoever you don't decide to opt in and legislate in that area, if you legislate out, you can come back at any time. Whoever you legislate, let's just go with John's point about retail. If we did what John said, it would be yes to retail, and for now, no to cultivation, manufacture, wholesale. Well, immediately at any time, you could come back and say, now we want to add wholesale because we have a location that we've kind of vetted out and we think would work. We'd support a license there. But as far as the retail is concerned, conversely, whatever you decide on that one license, no matter what, you're locked in for 5 years from now.
Right.
Okay. All right, so where do we go from here? I think the other two council people should weigh in with their opinions. I'm leaning towards what John's talking about, and you're going to head that committee, that would be great. Fred, can we start working on that now, since we kind of have a slight direction with John's theory on the
Sure.
retail?
Sure, we
Is
could. Yeah.
Everybody in favor of that? To get a head start on it, so we don't fall behind? Okay. All right, John, you take that committee. If you need help, I'm here for you. I'm sure Dawn will be there. Any of us will help if need be, to do any type of research or have an opinion on what you want to do. And then we can put this committee and a resolution together for next month to actually form a true committee for this. And we'll move ahead. Okay?
Mhm.
Good.
Okay.
All right. Okay, late public comment.
You had non-agenda?
Oh, yeah, non-agenda. Yeah, it's for the authorization for waiving the permits. Am I correct, for the garage sale this week?
For the townwide garage sale,
For the townwide
April
garage sale.
24th, rain date, April 25th.
Okay.
It'll be resolution 2021 4.20.
4.20. Okay. Kevin, motion on the floor
So moved.
or on the Zoom? Second?
Second.
We doing all in favor in this?
Yes.
All in
Do I have to
favor?
do I have to abstain since I'm having one?
No, it's okay.
Depends what you're selling. What do you
Second.
Only for the free advertisement, but otherwise, no.
got?
Everyone's treated the same, so it's fine. Thanks, Tom.
All right,
So do
that's good.
we
All in
just do
favor?
a voice vote?
All in
Yeah,
favor
all
is
in
good?
favor.
We did all in favor.
Aye, we didn't say.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Late public comment, motion open to late public comment.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Anybody wishing to speak to late public comment?
We do have a hand up. Stephen Perdalis.
Yes.
Good evening, everybody. Stephen Pardalis, 2 High Street. I just wanted to weigh in a little bit on the cannabis retail. I did write the opinion paper for the EDC. I'm sorry that I only got it this morning. If you read it, you'll see that it's pretty comprehensive, and it took me a while to get the final version out with comments from the rest of the EDC, and it was unanimously approved by the EDC with one abstention because she is moving out of Bloomingdale and didn't want to weigh in on that vote. Ultimately, I asked that if you get an opportunity to read it, it goes through a lot of the questions and a lot of the things that were brought up in a lot of detail. I'd also be happy to provide additional detail on anything that remains outstanding. That's the question. Ultimately, we did recommend the formation of a Bloomingdale Cannabis Regulatory Commission. So there's one in New Jersey, the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission. We recommended the formation of a local one in order to monitor what New Jersey is doing, as well as come up with potential plans on a kind of a broad scale to implement. There's a couple challenges here. One is that the New Jersey Regulatory Commission had its first meeting last Monday, the very first time they've all been in the same room together. So clearly, most towns are operating without a lot of direction whatsoever. They've promised to get moving quickly and provide some guidance, which I would expect them to do given the deadline for enacting or prohibiting legislation. I wouldn't be shocked if they push back that deadline at some point. Listen, the state wants the towns to have retail cannabis. They would not have, set up a regulatory system if they didn't want it. So they're certainly not in the business of, deadlining out a town who is actively considering it. So if they're dragging their feet a little bit, I would suspect that as we talked about, what date is that meeting in August versus the zoning? I wouldn't be surprised if there was a little leeway as we went forward in terms of what we were implementing. Again, most of what my opinions are and that of the EDC are summarized in that paper pretty comprehensively. Also, one of the lead sections is addressing all of the concerns with cannabis retail. Again, I think it's recognized by the council as opposed to some other local towns that the opposition to a lot of this retail cannabis is really just an opposition to legalization. And that people are opposed to legalization, which of course you're entitled to that opinion, but the fact is that it is legal at this point. And the EDC's recommendations are certainly not based on whether marijuana should be legal or not for consumption. It's whether Bloomingdale should permit and regulate, very well regulated, very well licensed and restrictive retail cannabis operations. Again, most of it's in there, just kind of like on the some piece, something that was important to me as I was going through this recommendation is the local commission is very important. And I also think one reason I went through is to monitor the state commission because again, things have moved so slow and really, you wouldn't really expect like every member of the council to sit there every day and see what is the state regulatory commission doing this day versus the next day versus the next day. I think we should have a group dedicated to following those developments. And secondly, to address what I call the social challenges to any retail cannabis, which would be, the concerns about underage use and law enforcement. And it's my recommendation that that the commission either work with or potentially consist of members of the Bloomingdale Drug Alliance and or the Bloomingdale Police Department, because they have perspectives that are incredibly important to whatever decision is made in this town. And ultimately, it's practical to agree that marijuana is dangerous for young people, that we don't want it using it, and that's a risky substance and product, but also one that we can, at the same time, actively police and control and sell in our town, the same as we do alcohol. We don't want kids drinking underage, but we let, bars, liquor stores, and restaurants serve it in our town. So I think all those things are important. I think including some of those organizations that might historically be, against it would be very helpful because we might learn some things that we didn't know at the forefront. Obviously, as a member of the EDC and with John heading the commission, I would be interested in being a part of it. But I just ultimately ask that you please read the recommendation memo that went out, and please let me know if you have any questions or need any other information.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. Anybody else, Bree?
There's no other hands up.
Okay. Okay. Okay, motion to close late public comment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. We do have an executive session tonight. We will not be making any decisions afterwards. It's one one matter of negotiations, and one matter of personnel, but there'll be no decisions made.
There may be a decision, John.
Yeah? Okay, so there may be a decision made. That's the personnel matter, correct, Mike?
Yes. Yep.
All right, so when we come out of executive, there is a possibility of more business. All right. Okay, I need a motion to go into the executive session.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.